other thing that I want you to note is the API donut looks different. In the upper left-hand quadrant, the requirement from API is that has to be colored. Now here's the stupid thing in my mind. They don't care what color you use, but it has to be colored. So I want you guys to know that. Some company may put that on the label and they might have that area red, just like that slide. Another company may color it blue. First thing you're going to ask is this the same stuff? Yes. As long as it says FA4, you're fine. So lighter viscosities, more fuel economy. That's what we're gearing towards here. And again, FA4 not backwards compatible. So there's always a series of tests that are required for to be able to license your products as CK4, FA4, CJ4. It's not just about the money. All the oils have to pass a certain parameter of tests. These are the 9 tests that are required. If you notice, they all have an engine manufacturer's name associated with them because the engine manufacturers, each one has an area that they like to see addressed as part of the API requirements. 7 of these tests are carryovers from the CJ4 engine oil category. The 2 new tests are the Volvo T13 and the CAT C13A. So both products, CK4, FA4, have to pass these same 9 tests. This kind of talks about the tests a little bit. I'm not going to get into this in real detail, but the T13, Volvo T13 test is the oxidation test. It's a very severe test. And the C13 is the aeration test. Okay, so this is essentially, when I talk about high temperature, high shear viscosity, here's a couple illustrations. The flat one doesn't, at the bottom doesn't show up very well, but if you think about this as your crankshaft, this is your connecting rod bearing, you have your oil film in between your crank and your bearing. So here's what we're dealing with today, and with the CK4 oils, you're going to have a thicker oil film in there. With the FA4 oils, that oil film is reduced. Now the thing that's confusing to a lot of people is these oils could both be 10W30 oils, okay? So that gets a little, how's a 1030 one thinner than the other one? Again, it's a measurement of the viscosity of the fluid in motion. So, we're reducing that film in order to create less drag to improve the fuel efficiency. So CK4 oils, very similar to the products we've had on the market as far as that high temperature, high shear viscosity. But the FA4 oils are only going to be able to be used in engines that are designed for it, okay? Obviously, I'll talk about some other changes, but that's why they're not backwards compatible, because the engine has to be designed to use these oils that are creating a thinner oil film. This is just talking about the numbers and the limits. This may or may not mean a whole lot to you guys, but currently this is the HTHS viscosity requirements. 1540 today is a minimum of 3.5. That's going to stay the same, moving on the CK4 side, but on the FA4, that HTHS viscosity is lowered to 2.9 to 3.2. It has to be within that range. How do we do that? How do you have two 10W30s with different HTHS viscosities? New, Mike has on here, more expensive polymers. Okay, a polymer is what actually makes a multi-grade oil a multi-grade. Polymers are contracted when the oil is cold. It makes it act like, you know, if you're talking about a 1540, when it's cold, it acts like a 15 grade oil. When the oil warms up, that polymer expands. And so, you know, at 100 degrees C, then that oil is like a 40 grade. So, different polymers, and, you know, I don't know exactly what the terminology is there, but that's how they're able to lower the HTHS viscosity and still have them both at 10W30. And I can't say this enough, the new FA4 oils are not backwards compatible. Very important. I remember when the CJ4 oils were introduced, we had CI4 Plus oils on the market at that time. Guys would go out and buy 2007 trucks. Truck dealers never told them that they needed to upgrade to a CJ4 oil. So you had some guys that were still running CI4 Plus oils in trucks that should be running CJ4 oils. Hopefully this time around, truck dealers that we're buying from will let you know, but you need to make sure if you know that you ask based on the engine that you're buying, you know, the truck. Does it call for a CK4 type oil or does it call for an FA4 type oil? Big difference.
Hey, Tom, what engine manufacturer is going to require the FA4 so far?
I'm going to show you that in a little bit. So follow the OEM recommendation. I'm sure it'll be in the book if they don't tell you, but...
More on the cap, right?
I'm sorry?
On the fill cap, you would think too, right?
You would think so. Yeah, you would think. So obviously, a lot of people, you talk about reducing that film thickness in the oil. The concern is wear. There's been a lot of testing, and I've read some numbers. I mean, we're talking about millions of miles of testing on the new products between, you know, all the different companies. And with the chemistry involved in the engine design, everybody's very confident that both of these oils are going to work fine as long as you're using them in the right application. Again, good anti-wear and oxidation resistance is going to help to keep that wear in check. So basically, when you're talking about the chemistry of the products, there's not really a whole lot of change. Ash remains at 1% or less. That's important because of your diesel particulate filters. Anti-wear, we're still using sulfur and phosphorus anti-wear additives. I'll talk about the you know, kind of how our product line and a lot of other product lines are going to look down the road. But I do want to talk about universal oils. You guys that are customers in here, is anybody using a 1540 in a mixed fleet of gasoline and diesel engines? You guys do that at all? Okay, that's good. That's
Once
good.
in a while it gets slipped in, but not on purpose.
Well, it's like the diesel engine specifications and the gasoline engine specifications are kind of going like this. They're kind of going in opposite directions. I know everybody would love one engine oil, one transmission fluid, one grease, you know, but those days are over. you know, it's just, I don't recommend it for a couple of different reasons. I'm not going to get into the whole phosphorus requirements, but that's one of the big differences besides the viscosity. So, but today, most companies, us included, we have a CJ4SN product available for customers that do want to use it. CJ4SN means it's, you know, CJ4 for the diesel side, SN for the gasoline side. Moving forward, that may change. Really what I want to point out here is that, you know, and we're even taking a hard look at this right now. I don't want to overcomplicate it, but we may not, and if, you know, you guys that are sales reps, if you have customers out there that are using a 1540 or a CJ4 1030 as a universal oil, not all companies are going to continue to make a universal product. There may be some companies that do, some companies don't. But so just customers need to be aware, just because they used a 1540 as a universal product in the past, or a CJ4 1030, they might not be able to do that moving forward because their company might not make that product. It might be CK4 only and not carry the SN designation. Okay. This slide was 2014. 40% of the commercial engine oil market is off-road. The new type FA4 low